Why do the canonical Gospels say so little about Jesus' childhood? The New Testament offers just one story of young Jesus, a scene where, at 12 years old, he amazes the elders in the temple with his wisdom. But a much more complex picture of his early years emerges from ancient texts that were ultimately excluded from the Bible. One such text, known as the Infancy Gospel of Thomas stands out for its portrayal of a youthful Jesus in a less familiar, and much more unsettling, light. Written by an unknown author in the late 2nd century, this apocryphal gospel describes incidents from Jesus' life between the ages of 5 and 12. Unlike the Jesus of the New Testament, who is depicted as compassionate and forgiving, this account paints him as both powerful and, at times, frighteningly quick to anger. Among the first stories in the Infancy Gospel of Thomas is an incident that shows the child Jesus by a stream on the Sabbath, playing with water and creating pools. He then performs 2 small miracles, purifying the water and animating clay sparrows into living birds. So far, the description of his actions seems to fit within traditional biblical themes of miraculous power. However, the story soon takes a darker turn when a nearby boy, the son of a high priest, sees what Jesus is doing and accuses him of violating the Sabbath. He destroys Jesus' pools in anger, at which point Jesus curses the boy, who mysteriously fades or dies. This unexpected portrayal raises intriguing questions. Why would early Christians create such stories, depicting Jesus as a child who could be vengeful and even wrathful? Some scholars suggest that these apocryphal accounts were less about defining Jesus' character and more about exploring the mystery of divine power, even in its immature form. Others argue that these early, lost Gospels, reflect cultural anxieties of the time, capturing a world in which divine or supernatural beings were often seen as both protective and dangerously unpredictable. The apocryphal Gospels were likely written in communities on the fringes of the early Christian world, each with its unique interpretations of Jesus' nature and teachings. By the time of the 3rd century, church leaders began to standardize the canon, selecting only those texts that were consistent with Old Testament traditions and could be closely linked to the apostles. Yet the Infancy Gospel of Thomas remained popular among certain groups, who may have been drawn to its dramatic and unorthodox depiction of Jesus. What these lost Gospels tell us is not only about the evolution of Christian beliefs but also about the deep uncertainties that ancient communities faced in understanding the divine. In portraying Jesus as a child with immense, raw power, the Infancy Gospel of Thomas challenges us to consider how divine nature might be perceived when unfiltered by age or experience. This apocryphal portrayal gives us a glimpse of a Jesus who is far from the controlled, serene figure of traditional Christian iconography, hinting instead at a God who, as a child, was both wondrous and terrifying. Although these stories remain outside the official Christian canon, their survival suggests a persistent fascination with the early life of Jesus, filling in gaps left by the canonical Gospels. They also invite us to reflect on how much, or how little, we truly know about the figure who has inspired countless generations, and how different the story of Christianity might look if these texts had been included in the Bible.